You're in a conversation. The scene opens on two people facing each other, one talking, the other smiling politely. Then that polite smile goes blank. The narrator describes the exact, slightly humbling moment when you realize the words stopped landing, their lips were moving, but you have absolutely no idea what they just said. Your brain had already taken a detour, maybe replaying an old memory, planning dinner, or imagining a strange what-if scenario. That moment has a name: mind wandering, or as most of us call it, zoning out. It's not a moral failure, it's a clue about how your brain works. Zoning out isn't your brain turning off. Picture it like a camera lens refocusing from the outside world to the inside. When you're actively listening, your attention is trained outward. The speaker's words, tone, facial expressions, but when you zone out, that lens quietly pivots inward. The narrator explains how your brain begins processing internal material, memories, plans, worries, daydreams. Psychologists call this mind wandering. Your thoughts drift away from the task at hand. In conversations, the task is simple but demanding: paying attention. To understand why, imagine your brain has two major modes. The first mode is task-focused. When you're solving a problem, following instructions, or really tuning in, networks in the front and sides of your brain work harder to keep attention steady and information accessible. The second mode is the default mode. It lights up when you're not glued to the outside world, daydreaming, remembering the past, imagining the future, or thinking about yourself and others. Zoning out during a conversation is your brain switching from the task-focused network to the default mode. Attention becomes decoupled from the speaker and recoupled to your inner life. It's not laziness, it's how the system is wired. Why does this switch happen so often while someone is talking? There are three main reasons. First, listening is a working memory workout. Each sentence arrives as a new piece of information. You have to hold the last few seconds in mind and weave everything into a coherent story that uses your mental scratch pad. If the speaker talks fast, uses complex language, or jumps around, working memory can overload. When it's too much, your brain sometimes lets go and drifts towards something easier. Conversely, if the conversation is repetitive or boring, your brain thinks, "I have spare capacity, let me use it elsewhere," and slips into planning or replaying memories. Second, fatigue and mental overload make zoning out more frequent. When tired, stressed, or sleep-deprived, the brain runs on a low battery. Zoning out can act like a tiny, involuntary micro-break. For a few seconds, it reduces processing of the outside world and conserves energy by shifting inward. That's why long meetings, lectures, or late afternoons breed more blank stares. Often it isn't personal, it's exhaustion. Third, social self-consciousness pulls attention inward. In conversations, especially with people you want to impress, part of your mind starts rehearsing next words. What you'll say, whether you sound foolish, whether the other person likes you, that internal commentary consumes the same resources needed to listen. So while the speaker is talking, your brain might be running a social simulation, very active, but not on the right task. Outwardly, you look zoned out. Inwardly, you're busy. Where does the mind go when it wanders? Rarely to nothing. It drifts to unfinished tasks, personal goals, worries, and regrets, future plans, or fantasies. Research suggests mind wandering is often goal-related. The brain uses idle moments to simulate the future, revisit the past, and sort through personal problems, sometimes without your conscious permission. So when a conversation slows or confuses, your brain prioritizes what feels important to your life, even if the timing is socially unfortunate. The consequence is clear. When you zone out, comprehension drops. Studies of reading and listening show that mind wandering reduces recall and understanding. People forget key points or lose the thread entirely. That explains the baffled, "Wait, how did we get here?" after a few seconds of drifting. Socially, it can sting. The speaker may feel ignored or rejected, even if your brain didn't mean any harm. Some people notice zoning out more than others. Higher rates are linked to high stress, burnout, poor sleep, anxiety, depression, or attention differences like ADHD. That doesn't mean zoning out equals a disorder. It means that when emotional or cognitive load is high, maintaining attention gets harder. If zoning out is constant, disrupts work or relationships, or comes with memory gaps or depersonalization, it's worth consulting a professional. But zoning out isn't all bad. The same default mode that pulls you into daydreams also supports creativity and planning. In safe context during a shower, a walk, or a quiet moment, mind wandering can spark solutions, reminders, or new ideas. The trick is timing. During meaningful conversations and focused work, you usually want attention online. At other times, offline thinking can be a feature, not a bug. Final takeaway, when you catch yourself zoning out, remember your brain didn't switch off. It switched direction from outer to inner. It might be overloaded, bored, tired, or preoccupied. That doesn't make you a bad person. A gentle reset helps. Notice without judgment, bring your focus back. Ask a question, summarize what you heard, or tell yourself, this moment matters. Understanding how your brain wanders gives you the chance to gently choose when to come back. End title card, why you zone out while someone is talking. Your brain isn't broken, it's just wandering.